Hello, everyone, and happy official Red October Saturday. It has been a long week waiting for this, Renee, but welcome into the PHLY Phillies Red October edition of the podcast. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Miller Lite, the original light beer since 1975, and to this day, it's still the best one. I had several Miller Lights yesterday on the golf course, I am proud to say. And I will probably have some more Miller Lights today while watching Phillies baseball because, Renee, my big takeaway from just watching the games this week, being uninvolved, is you forget baseball's unique in that I don't get this gut-wrenching turmoil when I watch football or basketball. Playoff hockey, when your team's good, can give you it. But playoff baseball, man, it is gut-wrenching. Anything can change at any given moment. It's just a wild ride. And, Miller Lights, it kind of soothes my stomach a little bit.
Yeah, I hope you guys are buckling up your seatbelts because
it's going to be
a wild ride. Listen, the thing about playoff baseball is you just have no idea what to expect. You can't go into any game, any series saying this is a definitive, easy win. You can't predict anything, honestly. And what makes it even better, and I know in the chat you guys are going insane, and I feel like it's like, wow, like everyone's screaming. We're all just like, yeah, baseball time.
Baseball!
Yeah, baseball! But also it's the fact that, you get a Phillies-Mets series for the first time ever that they both reached the NLDS. For the first time ever, they've both faced off against each other in the playoffs. And you couldn't have drawn this up any better. Like the full circle moments, the storylines, we're going to tee it up, of course, for you guys with all the details. But it's just nerve-wracking because I know, like I was sitting next, I've been around so many Mets fans, I feel like lately that I keep seeing. I saw one on the airplane.
I was up there yesterday.
All over. Yeah, it's like everyone's rocking their, I saw some Red October hoodies. I've seen the Mets hoodies. Like everyone's rocking their gear. But the truth is, nobody knows what's actually going to happen. And you can't predict it. And it makes me excited and it makes me nervous and all types of emotions. So we are here, guys. We finally get to participate in Red October.
Yeah, there's some good numbers I'll give you in terms of the Phillies under Rob Thompson in game ones, the Phillies at home, and all that good stuff. But the thing that makes me feel great about today is Zack Wheeler. And he's on the mound versus Kodai Senga, who makes his return. Hasn't pitched since July 26th, I believe it is. Kind of a surprise for the Mets to get him. There was talk of Tyler McGill possibly starting this game. But Senga is going to come in. I haven't really seen or heard anything about a pitch count or a workload. You and Tyler were talking before the show here for a second, and Tyler was like, yeah, I don't know how long he's going to go. Maybe this is only a 2 or 3 inning thing. TBD there, but the Phillies definitely have the pitching advantage here with Zack Wheeler. We'll get into some of his numbers as well because he is filthy when it comes to playoff baseball. So you feel great about that. And that's where we start. Zack Wheeler versus Kodai Senga. Let's go. Wheels up, baby.
Listen, starting with Kodai, because this is a surprise, and we've gotten some surprise. I know we'll get into our, roster and other things today. As you can see, our list of topics to talk through. But for Kodai Senga, I know in the chat, Lawrence is asking, why did they roll him out? Obviously, he had a really injured-plagued season. He didn't even get a chance to make his debut until July 26th. Because he was dealing with a strain in his throwing shoulder in spring training that just kept lingering. And then even after he made his debut, he was pulled in the 6th inning of that start. That was against the Braves on July 26th after throwing 73 pitches due to a calf strain. So it's been a very injured season for him. And he did actually have a chance to get some rehab starts back in September 21st with AAA Syracuse. And then they didn't seem like they were going to have him ready for the playoffs. But there have been reports that have indicated that Kodai Senga is expected to piggyback with either David Peterson or Tyler McGill, depending on, how the game is, of course, going. Peterson did pitch 7 innings Sunday and the 9th inning Thursday in Milwaukee. So they already have expectations of a short leash for Kodai Senga. I guess the Mets are just, first of all, their pitching staff in general, from starting to their bullpen, because of the wild card series, because of the doubleheader Monday, they've been taxed. So I think this is, let's roll out Kodai Senga.
Yeah,
at least it's fresh. Against the wall, see what we can do here. He has also been pretty good against the Phillies in general. We know he tweeted out back in 2022, and I retweeted it today. He was saying, like, the one lineup he was looking forward to at that time coming into the league Well, you got the Phillies in a big prime time moment here, youngster. And after last season, where he was solid in his rookie season, 12-7, a 2.98 ERA, a 1.22 WHIP in 29 starts. Then, of course, injuries this season, so haven't had a chance to see him. But against the Phillies specifically in his rookie season, there were some numbers about the current roster for the Phillies versus Kodai Senga last year. Of course, this is last year, but it's all we have to go by, guys. Last year, the team OPS was a .375 for current Phillies, and their slash lines were 146, 205, 171 over 41 at-bats against Kodai Senga. Of course, that's over a year ago. Totally different. Same guys, but different play at this point of the season. And so the expectation is he probably won't go. Definitely, if he goes twice through the order, probably will not go a third time. Good news is we don't have these problems with Zack Wheeler of having to worry about piggybacking and pitch count and anything like that. Zack Wheeler is going to go out and just wheel and deal.
Yeah, a couple comments in the chat. Lawrence Lero says, why the hell would they trot him out? I think because of what Renee just said. You know, if it's at least a fresh arm, maybe you can get 3 or 4 innings out of it. And Greg Q says, all this tells me is that postseason Wheeler makes them very nervous. If you're unfamiliar with Senga, he has, I guess, one of the more famously named pitches in baseball with his ghost forkball. But what he's going to be throwing, this is how it works for him. He does go to 6 pitches. He throws his 4-seamer nearly 40% of the time. That ghost forkball, he throws 32.9% of the time. Then he's got a cutter at about 15%, a sweeper at nearly 7%, a little bit of a slider occasionally at 4%, and then the very rare curveball from him at 1.4%. So, you know, in talking with my Mets buddies, I was, you know, not like cocky, but I did say, like, you know, we're the better team. And the thing I fear the most is the Phillies. And that's, you know, that's not lying. That's reality. You know, they got to force him to throw strikes, and then they can't miss said strikes. So it's going to be on the Phillies hitters today. I'm not overly nervous about Kodai Senga.
No, not at all. And I agree. I think for everything, it feels like it comes down to the Phillies, that they defeat themselves, essentially. The Phillies are the team on paper that is the better team. They've just got to go out and play Phillies baseball. They've got to go out and earn it. I know we've got lots of folks in the chat. Ultra Ronan, Lai, Sam, Mickey, Greg. I don't feel nervous about Kodai Senga, but I just feel nervous in general about what to expect from the Phillies. Zack Wheeler, as we know this season, has been one of the guys that's been great against the Mets. As mentioned, we don't have to get Taijuan Walker against the Mets because Zach, Aaron, Christopher Sanchez, and Ranger Suarez 7-3 on the season against the Mets. And so for Zack Wheeler to get the start today, after having a chance to rest, I know Rob Thompson mentioned it, the guys mentioned it, JT was talking about it as well. The good thing is the Phillies were able to reset their rotation, be fresh. This is the benefit of having that week, you know, that first round bye and having time off. It's given them a chance to now be able to start off game 1 fresh with Zack Wheeler versus like the Mets right now, who are definitely taxed in terms of their pitching staff. And you have a Zack Wheeler coming in, should be Cy Young Zack Wheeler, but regardless, doesn't matter. We're talking postseason now. That's more important because someone that might win a Cy Young could also be sitting at home right now. But for Zack Wheeler to have a 2.57 ERA, which is top 3 across baseball, his .96 WHIP, and his 32 starts, he's had a great season. But the best part about Zach, Jamie, is his end to the season with how well he finished off 2024 regular season play.
Yeah. Here's some numbers. We'll call it Zack Wheeler stat porn because this man is tremendous in playoff baseball. This is from the Phillies press release or media release earlier today. Today marks Zack Wheeler's 11th career start in the postseason. It's his 12th appearance. He came in once in relief. In his first 11 appearances, Wheeler posted a 2.42 ERA with only 17 earned runs in 63 1/3 innings, a .73 WHIP with only 10 walks to 36 hits, 68 strikeouts to 10 walks. And Wheeler has faced 238 batters in the postseason in his career and held them to a slash line of 161, 210, and 250 with only a 460 OPS. In the history of the game, there have been 226 pitchers in postseason ball. Of that group of qualifying, of that group of 226, Zack Wheeler ranks first in WHIP. His WHIP is .73, just slightly better than this guy, Mariano Rivera, I think is how you say it. I'll have to look up his baseball reference page one day. He sounds like he could be pretty good. He had a .76 career WHIP in the postseason. Zack Wheeler was first in opponents on base percentage at 210. Again, this guy, Mariano Rivera, is second with a 212. He was third in opponents average at 161, fourth in opponents OPS at 460, fifth in strikeout to walk ratio, and tied for ninth with opponents slugging percentage at just 250. Zack Wheeler puts it on the table in postseason ball, so you have to feel great about how he's going to go out there today. Guy, as Ultra Ronin says, absolute stud.
Yeah, and what makes it better is he had such a phenomenal end to the season. We know and we remember like it was yesterday, that 0-3 start for Zack Wheeler where he was pitching around a 3 ERA but was not getting any run support. Well, as he finished out the season, getting run support and also just continuing to be phenomenal with his 11 final starts to have a 1.89 ERA across that stretch where he was able to pitch 6 or more innings and allow 2 or fewer earned runs in each of those 11 starts. So you're going 6+ innings and allowing 2 or fewer runs, which is also the longest streak by any Major League Baseball pitcher this season and the longest by a Phillies starting pitcher since at least 1893. And as you talk about his postseason numbers, he does have the 5th lowest ERA of any Major League Baseball pitcher with 10 or more starts in the playoffs since ERA began getting tracked in 1913. He is a big moment pitcher, and this is a big moment, an opportunity. And what makes it even sweeter, you're going up against your former team, the team that didn't even let you, that said buy your own tickets, wouldn't even let him travel when he was rehabbing, and wouldn't let him be a part of the postseason when he was still in the Mets. Obviously, different ownership, different era of the Mets, but it was still the New York Mets. And so it's a great opportunity for Zack today to get to start going up against the Mets. When you also have numbers, the Mets are currently slashing a 281, 309, 421 against Zack Wheeler in his 171 at-bats they've seen. He has been dominant. He's been phenomenal. And I have a lot of faith in him. Also, the lowest WHIP of any active pitcher. The numbers that he has for postseason success in general has been phenomenal. I know what Zack is going to do. To me, it comes down to can the offense and will the offense support him?
Yeah, and we'll get here into the starting lineups in a minute. But, of course, Red October is brought to you by our friends at Ace True Hardware Home Services. I'm at Ace Hardware all the time because those guys are awesome. You walk right in, you get helped, you get pointed where to go. They can tell you, what parts and tools you need for any particular job just off the top of their head. They're the best. If there's always guys in there just chewing the fat, having a good time, talking tools and talking fixing. Now with Ace, they bring that hardware home services right to your front door. So whether it's a leaky air conditioning and a plumbing issue, whatever it may be, Ace Hardware has got you covered. So make sure you stop in and go to acehardwarehomeservices.com. All right, Renee, we will, the Phillies lineup is out, and then you will bring us the Mets lineup. But the Phillies today, leading off, Kyle Schwarber. We'll get into some of his numbers in a little bit in postseason history because he's quite good. Trey Turner batting second. This guy, Bryce Harper, batting third. Nick Castellanos with a surprise cleanup hitter. Alec Boehm in the 5 hole, Bryson Stott 6, JT Realmuto down in the 7 hole. So it looked like, and we'll talk about this, Realmuto in the 7, Marsh in the 8th, Rojas in the 9th. There's going to be a lot of, I would think, lineup manipulation throughout this series because whether it's Austin Hayes and Brandon Marsh, Senga is the righty. So with that and how much, flip-flopping they may be going on, it looks like they really wanted to split up righty, lefty, righty there, 5, 6, 7, hence JT going to the 7 hole. Look, that's a great strength to have at the bottom of your lineup. One of the best, hitting catchers in the game. So JT is going to be in the 7 hole. Brandon Marsh gets the start versus Senga, Renee, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin Hayes possibly come in late. I think it's a given that he's going to start every game a lefty goes. But Brandon Marsh gets the nod today, and that's the Phil's lineup for you. I kind of like it. I like where Rob's head's at on that.
I like it too. Listen, we also are anticipating Kodai Senga is not going to go deep into the game. So depending on, who they're rolling out, we know that Rob's going to be focused on the lefty-righty matchups. But also I remember something that jumped out at me, especially with Johan Rojas in the lineup, is the fact that Rob did say they are very meticulously considering offensive as well as defensive production. So if you're going to put someone like Johan Rojas in the lineup, can you offset that with someone that gives you a little bit more offensive production? So I do feel like they have options to roll out, not only in terms of lefty-righty splits, but also are you going to go with a more defensive, strong center fielder in Johan Rojas versus maybe rolling out something different to start? So I like this lineup as a way to kick off the NLDS. I do think for the matchup it works. And I think that also with the way that we've been seeing I like Nick in the cleanup spot. I think him or Alec Boehm are fine there, to be honest. I think it's pretty interchangeable. Him, Alec, and even I would say JT. I don't have any nerves about wherever they're batting. I think the three of them are showing the consistency, and I think they'll be fine. I mean, Nick has had an 8.58 OPS on the season, and
Renee. Good. Really important thing, a caveat we have to tell the people about. Liam Castellanos is in the house and did the fashion walk into the stadium today. So, if Liam's there, throw Nick wherever the hell you want.
Correct. They had their team dinner yesterday. We know how much that helps. We also know that or 2 days ago, I don't know what day it is, to be honest. So whatever day that was, they had team dinner. I think it was yesterday. We also know that Liam is in the house. So yeah, let Nick bat wherever Nick wants to bat, because we know we're going to get super dad Nick Castellanos today. I do feel really good about it. And I do feel like this is a solid lineup, and Brandon Marsh has earned the opportunity to get the start here today. On the other side for the Mets, they've been trying to figure out their lineup too. For Carlos Mendoza's group, they've kind of been in a pickle of whether JD Martinez or Jesse Winker should be DH. But today they are rolling out Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, Brandon Nimmo, Pete the Polar Bear Alonso, who was 5 for 41 before his home run, that 3-run homer, the game-winning 3-run homer in Game 3. Wild. Jose Iglesias, Jesse Winker is at DH. They're going to have Starling Marte right field, Tyrone Taylor center field, and Francisco Alvarez at catcher to start off the game for the Mets. So interesting. Francisco Lindor is feeling better. By the way, we obviously saw him just fine in the wild card round. So that back issue that he was dealing with doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. He does seem to be just fine. So you get a healthy Francisco Lindor for the most part, and you get a lineup for the Mets that hopefully Zack Wheeler can get a lot of Ks rolling through. I'm hoping for this lineup, and even in general for Zack, to be able to have a chance to go 7 innings today would be lovely.
I think I feel like it's a lock. I feel great about Wheeler today. So if he can go 7 and you can keep the bullpen fresh, whether it be for Sanchi in Game 2 or Nola in Game 2, I haven't seen that announced yet. So the fresher you can keep the bull. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Maybe is it Sanchez?
Sanchi's Game 2.
I think that's the right
Nola's
decision.
Game 3.
Yeah, I think having the vet on the road is a huge plus for the Phils. So yeah, if Wheeler goes 7 today, you're setting your bullpen to be fresh in this series. So that would be a great thing to see. So those are your starting lineups today, and we're gonna hate the Mets very much by the end of this. I just know it. And Winker is one of those guys that I think is going to skyrocket my hate list during this series. Pete Alonso's already there. If I have to hear the announcers call him Polar Bear all series, I'm going to vomit. Like, come on. You're calling the guy Polar. Oh, the Polar Bear with one to right. Like, it's disgusting. Grow up. Grow up, Peter Pan.
He's also like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Polar Bear, Teddy Bear, the Big Bear, like all these bear nicknames that we give these big, massive guys in baseball. It's not something that we need to see as much in the game. I think that's something you see. Like, let the teammates do that. Let the family
don't
do
call
that.
That on
like,
the broadcast.
Can you imagine on the broadcast being like, oh, here comes like Teddy Grahams. Like, I don't know. It's all these bear references.
Bryce Harper goes by the Greatest Showman. I mean, like, are they going to start saying, well, here comes the Greatest Showman batting for the Phillies? No, because it's ridiculous. Ken Griffey Jr. had like the coolest nickname of all time, the Kid. And
I was going to say, if they have a great nickname, like that's it.
Like the kid, I feel like they didn't call him that in the game. Calling him the
No.
polar bear, don't do it in the NLDS. Come on,
It
that's
just
just
takes away from
gross.
some of the seriousness of the game.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
And
Like,
you're
bro.
not close enough to be able to call them like that nickname. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
All right,
I don't know.
real quick, let's talk about the Phillies roster as it is set for the NLDS here. They ended up keeping 12 pitchers. Now, our own Tyler Zulli talked up about 2 weeks ago the possibility of Colby Allard being on the roster. He did say, Colby gives us the chance for a long man if needed in this series. Of course, being left-handed always helps too. Jose Alvarado, Tanner Banks, Christopher Sanchez, Matt Strahm, Ranger Suarez. The right-handed pitchers, Carlos Estevez, Jeff Hoffman, Orion Kerkering, Aaron Nola, Jose Ruiz, and Zack Wheeler. No real surprise there outside of Allard a little bit. No Taiwan.
No Taiwan.
Womp womp. The catchers, obviously, Real Muto, Stubbs. Infielders, no surprises. Bohm, Clemens, Harper, Sosa, Stott, Turner, and Weston Wilson. Then your outfielders are Castellanos, Austin Hayes, Brandon Marsh, and Johan Rojas. And of course, the DH, Schwarbaum himself. So I think Colby Allard is the biggest surprise there. But Rob said, he gives us an option.
Yeah, and I think when you really look at the nuts and bolts of everything, it's not a surprise. Why would you go with a Taiwan Walker? Because in a 5-game series, it's going to be Ranger if you have a game 4, and then you're going back to Zack. You're not going to Taiwan to start. And if you need a bullpen arm,
you're not pitching him anywhere. He's
anywhere. And then in a bullpen situation, if you need a bullpen arm, you don't need to go to Taiwan. Colby Allard has actually shown you more as a bullpen arm than Taiwan. You're not seeing either of them. It's just you need somebody to be number 26. You have Jose Ruiz, who you would see before Tanner Banks in any sort of like a middle leverage situation, or depending on when the Phillies go up a lot of runs, you have guys you can lean on, but you don't need either of them. And I think it makes total sense because of just the way that they've been pitching. Why would you roll Taiwan Walker out on a lineup knowing you're not going to play him? Don't waste his time. Don't waste our time. And I like also with this rotation, as you brought up earlier, and I know in the chat, Ultra Ronan's asking about Suarez, but looking at the rotation specifically with the announcement Rob made, it was Friday afternoon. So yesterday afternoon, Rob announced that Christopher Sanchez will start tomorrow for game 2. And he said, just looking at it, looking at playing the Mets, going into Citi Field, it's going to be a hostile environment. And knowing Aaron Nola, he's not going to, regardless of
I like it. I like the move.
The environment, you're not going to see any change. He's never going to get stirred, or
his pulse will not raise at all. Like
never. But he said on the other side, Sanchi's home road splits, it is the smartest thing. He said it was the smartest thing to do. And it's really amazing the steps he's taken, the growth physically, mentally, and emotionally, his velocity, his command, his slider. He was kind of rolling through all the areas that Sanchez has improved. Give him a chance to be successful, and he's better at home. Let him pitch at home. They're interchangeable. And I do trust Aaron Nola on the road in a hostile environment because he's just calm, cool, and collected Aaron Nola. For Suarez, hopefully we don't even have to see him. Let's hope the Phillies get a nice 3-game sweep. I would love that.
3-game sweep would be cool.
Would be lovely.
But I think Ultra Ronan in the chat said, "What's your concern for Suarez?" Fairly high. Rob talked about him the other day in the inter-squad scrimmage through 21 pitches. Rob seemed encouraged, but it's the manager talking about one of his guys. So I am a little concerned. The hope is, Ranger has been a big lights, big moment guy throughout his career. So hopefully, he sees the bunting flags and the national TV crews and the spray paint on the field, and he snaps right back to who he was. But I would say fairly concerned a little bit there. All right, Renee, the Phillies do have a huge advantage in this, and that's they're playing at Citizens Bank Park for the first 2 games. Hopefully game 5 isn't necessary, but the Phillies are 28-13 all time in postseason play at Citizens Bank Park. That is a 68% win percentage with a positive 88 run differential. That is the best, with a minimum of 30 games played, the best home field record win percentage in Major League Baseball history. The Mets actually have the second best. But the Phillies right now, have the best, and Citizens Bank Park is going to be nuts. I saw Alex Coffey tweeted out that Phillies Reddit was already diving into chants that they can kind of troll Pete Alonso with. I believe that was hair dye or hair plugs. Yeah. So Citizens Bank Park's going to be ready. They have an enormous advantage playing at home, and I can't wait to see that place on TV today, just looking very Red Octoberish.
Yeah, this is the moment we've been waiting for. And I think one of the biggest things I'm excited for also is a chance to quiet the narrative of the first round buys being a death sentence. I think that the Phillies have had the right approach. They've been doing all the little things, the intra-squad games, the team dinners, the time to rest. Of course, it's been, unique, uncharted territory, something new for them. But I think that for this group, they are such a veteran, experienced group. They've been obviously in the playoffs the last 2 seasons that I feel like if anybody can break this streak of the myth of the first round bye, it's the Phillies. And I think also facing the Mets makes it that much better because they're going to get up to play them. They're going to be, every game's going to feel like a home game. Citi Field's going to be packed with Phillies fans, just like Citizens Bank Park is going to have Mets fans, guys. And so I'm thrilled that this is a great NL East matchup in the NLDS
cool.
because you can't draw this up much better. You have all the storylines, you have all the opportunity here. And it starts with Zack. And I think that tonight is really just about this group has been, and the fans have been waiting for days. We've all been watching the excitement unfold around the rest of the wild card games and the playoffs, and even obviously the game 1 of today, the Guardians Tigers. And now it's time for the Phillies to finally get ready to play. So I'm thrilled for it. I know, it's a chance to sit back, relax, enjoy the game. We talked about cracking open a nice cold Miller Lite. But also, as we get into the time where things get difficult, you want to make sure you can relax. And so with our friends at Miller Lite, make sure you guys are stocked up on some delicious, refreshing Miller Lites for today, for tomorrow, for the whole playoff run that the Phillies are about to go on, because they've had that great taste since 1975 at Miller Lite. They are both refreshing and taste like beer, the best light beer that you can get. Because what we like about it, it's a light beer that tastes like beer, that's less filling, only 96 calories, and the original light beer, again, for decades, since 1975. We love dependability. We love responsibility. We love durability. And with Miller Lite, much like with, our guys at the Phillies, you know what you're going to get every time. So make sure you guys also stock up and celebrate responsibly with Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer. And today, head over to MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies to stock up on your Miller Lite, get it delivered to your door. Go buy it anywhere that sells a beer, pretty much. And again, that's MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies at Miller Lite.
All right, we're going to be getting out of here in a minute, but if you want to feel good about game 1, well, you have reason to, because the Phillies are great at it. In game 1s, the Phillies are 22-7 all time with a 759 win percentage, which again, minimum of 20 games, is the best in Major League Baseball history. Under Rob Thompson, they are 7-0 in game 1s. So this is one. You got your ace on the mound. You got a worked staff coming in here. Let's put that storyline to rest about, the hot team and the Mets have been playing a playoff game every day for 3 weeks. I don't care. Somebody in the chat said, I want a lopsided beat them down. Ultra Ronin. Yeah, I'd love to see the Phillies get out here and just smack them right in the face. And they don't even know what hit them. You got to do it on the back of Bryce Harper. He has some numbers maybe we'll read in the post-game show that are just, phenomenal in terms of postseason. He's great, and he needs to be great for this Phillies offense. He is the sun, the moon, the universe to the Phillies. So Bryce Harper, I expect him to show up and step up here. They need him to be great. Hopefully that week off has his elbow and wrist maybe feeling slightly better. But you need Zack Wheeler. You need Bryce Harper. I feel good about it. Let's just get into the prediction. I'm going to say Phillies win 1 today by the score of 5-2. I think Zack Wheeler is going to deal. I think they'll get Senga out of the game by the 3rd, and then they'll work this bullpen that's been taxed all week.
I like it. I do think one of the beauties of this is the fact that the Phillies and Mets obviously just played each other. You knew regardless who came out of the Brewers-Mets series, it's a team you just played. They just had a 4-game series against the Mets. So as Rob Thompson was saying, the familiarity is already there. You don't really have to do a big deep dive into stats and film because you literally just played them at the end of the regular season. So for that reason, I do feel like this is going to be a game it's a team you're very familiar with and can come right out and know the tendencies and everything. I could see a lot of runs being scored. I think the offense has been waiting, and so I don't know. Okay,
you got. Say it with your chest.
I'm gonna go. I like 2 for the Mets. I feel like 1 is a little bit low. I don't want to, 3 is a bit too high. It is Zack Wheeler pitching. So I'm
Yuki Matsui in the chat says 10-1.
I was gonna say 7-1. I was gonna say 7-1.
All right.
7-1 Phillies. But listen, the Phillies have 11 more wins, as Bryce Harper reminded us. 11 wins, and you are World Series champ.
Yeah, that's it. You got 11 games to
11
win.
wins. I think it's for tonight with a nice 7-1 win over the Mets. I know Tyler gave his prediction as well. A 4-2 Phillies win for Tyler. Okay. So 4-2, similar to your 5-2. Yeah. I think we're all in the same ballpark, though.
All right. Great stuff here. To everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to be live. Maybe we go in the 9th just to get some live reactions on film if it's nerve-wracking. So you could actually just see me vomit all over my microphone if they blow it. But if they're good, we'll be live immediately after the game, if not in the 9th inning, depending on the game here. But we're going to be with you pre-post, watching along. We got an event on Tuesday coming up, so we got lots of great stuff here in store for the playoffs. And we appreciate every single one of you. So we're going to see you after the game.
Mets fans also.
Of the Phils win. Oh, come on in, Mets fans. I don't care.
Yuki, any other Mets fans, come on in. We'll be talking all series, pregame, postgame. Bring all the trash talk.
Yuki Matsui says, Phillies, book your trip to Cancun. Season's over. But yes, thank you to everyone. We'll see you after the game. Go Phils, and thank you to Miller Lite and Ace Hardware for bringing you all this wonderful programming. We'll see you soon. Go Phils.
We all silly like the mayor.